Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Take Two Podcast, episode 288. My name is Brian. I'm your host here at the TTP, all of your Hollywood news, TV, movie reviews, and of course, my Take Two loaded show today, folks. Loaded show today, episode 288. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to Take Two Podcast. 3 big reviews today. Finished up Severance, TV show that's on Apple right now. That wrapped about a weekish ago, and I binged the heck out of it. I will talk glowingly later on about that. Spoiler alert. Also saw the movie X. Fun little thriller that we shall be discussing. And then Death on the Nile dropped back in February-ish and finally got around to seeing it because it is available at home viewing. And really wanted to see it when it came out. And then it came out to tepid reviews, so it kind of tempered things. And I said, I'll just wait till I can home view. And now I can, so there it is. A huge casting section. When we get to the casting, folks, buckle up because there is a lot of news and some big time names and some big time projects coming up in the casting couch. Some Hollywood news, a couple of bummer RIPs. There again, back-to-back weeks for a certain sitcom that was popular back in the day. And then the poll results are in. We had a great poll. Sometimes these polls, folks, I don't know what kind of reaction each one's going to get. And the ones I expect nothing out of get the most. And that was exciting. DC has a ton of news. Ton of news in the DC discussion. And Marvel, they're fine. Marvel was like, they just snuck in a quick trailer just a few moments ago, actually, just before we started recording. Just like, hey, don't forget about us. We're super popular. But anyway, discussing all of that and more. And then the going forward section. Bunch of stuff to talk about. Bunch of stuff coming on. 288. I want to give you guys a quick heads up now, and I will mention it again going forward. Normally, as you folks know, Take Two podcast releases on Take Tuesdays. Usually Tuesday afternoon, this episode gets dropped, and you can find it in your feed. Next week, I am on a little bit of a vacay, headed down to Dallas for the wife and my 7-year wedding anniversary. We have a thing that we do. For our anniversary, we try and pick a new city that neither of us have been to for the most part, and just most random. It doesn't have to be anything, we're not doing Paris or nothing crazy like that. So far we pretty much stayed in the United States and just pick a random city. We did Cleveland, we did Louisville. This year we are doing Dallas, Texas. Neither of us have ever been to Dallas, Texas, and we're heading on down to Dallas, Texas. I'm very excited. You can check out Texas Rangers baseball game, check that baseball stadium off the list, go to a few other things. So either way, getting back a little bit later next week, so therefore episode 289 will just drop a day or two later than the norm. So don't fret. It is coming. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for listening to Take Two Podcast. Any other across the board you want to join in and talk movies and TV throughout the week, at Take Two Podcast on Twitter, Take Two Podcast at gmail.com. You can hit up the hotline 667-365-8253. That's texting and that's voicemail. Promise, will not answer the phone, but you can leave a voicemail for as long as you want. Well, there's probably like a 3-minute limit. I forget. Or as long as the tape runs out. For you kids out there, back in the day, yes, you used to have an actual machine that recorded the messages, and there was a little tape that you put in there. Any hoot. One thing we've jumped on board. I was talking to a couple of other listeners recently, and we've been playing this game Framed. Framed.com, I believe it is. But either way, if you follow the show on Twitter and Facebook, each day this thing Framed is kind of in the Wordle and the Hurdle, like this whole craze that's going on, this little fad right now. But it gives you 6 different pictures of a movie, just a screenshot of a scene, and you just try and guess the film one at a time. And the quicker you get it, the better. There's no like prizes or anything to be won. But either way, each day I've been putting up my answers, and some of them I get them in 1, and some of them I get them in 6, and some not at all. Yesterday's I didn't even get it all. Today's it took me 6. The 2 days ago it took 1. Either way, if you guys want to join along, then post yours as well. They'll be on the Take Two site each and every day. So just another little thing we can do and interact for fun. Okay, that is it for the intro. Now it's time to start on with the show. All right, your box office for the week, some lower numbers that were not expected, and a little bit of a disappointment for Warner Brothers as Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. It wins the weekend, but is the lowest number for the Fantastic Beasts series that we've had so far. Not by a lot, but still the lowest, and I think this has been reflected. I haven't seen as much love for this. Our poll was wizard based. Talking about that, we'll get to in a moment. And that got more of a reception than I thought. And so I was like, oh, maybe some people will actually go to see this movie. Well, 4,200 theaters, they put this bad boy in, and $43 million. That's simple math. That's about $10,000 theater. That's easy to do. Anywho, it's okay money. It's $43 million. Does it give them a big boost going forward for a part 4, part 5 that they were discussing. I don't know. I'm not sure. I did not see the last one. I have not seen this one. So anybody out there who has seen these and is fully caught up can then speak to, are these going to be moving forward? Are we getting more stuff out of this? Or is the Secrets of Dumbledore out and they're done with the series? Good to know if anybody can let us know on the socials. All right, Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2 grabs $30 million. They added 24 theaters to this thing. 4,200 theaters. It now puts it well over $100 million in 2 weeks of play. The thing is making great money. Gave it a positive review last night. Not my favorite, but it gave a very positive high review. I do wonder if that runtime deterred a few folks. Maybe that runtime kept a couple of people from coming back. $30 million says not so much. I'm curious, though, if it could have chipped away at 37, maybe even hit $40 million and contested if that runtime was 25 minutes shorter. But I've died on that hill already. Third place, The Lost City. That's back-to-back Paramount in the box office here, $6.5 million. It's at $78 million after 4 weeks. You know they would love to try and get 100, but at this rate, nope. If they can magically sneak out a 90, I bet they'd be happy with it. I'm sure they're happy with the 78 right now. But you know they were probably thinking in the back of their head, we got a lot of star power here. We started off decently strong. If we could sneak out 100, that'd be great. But either way, there they are. All right, the word is out on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have been championing this film for a while. I've been championing this film for a while, and I haven't even seen it yet. I'm dying to see it, but either way, they added about 1,000 theaters here. $6.1 million. Puts it at 17 overall. An A24 product. Good for them. Father Stu, first weekend of release. Here's your issue. These God Squad movies make money. It's not it comes as a surprise to people when they see this, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, that movie? How did that thing come in the top 3? And so it has a great audience. It always does. It always plays. Horror films and God Squad movies make money. And I actually heard good things about this movie, Father Stu. It comes in 5th place at $5.7 million. 2,700 theaters they put it in. Here's your flaw. It's rated R. And I have yet to see it. I want to see it. I've seen good reviews and based on a true story and whatnot. But why is it rated R? And did it have to be? And I think that's your biggest deterrent, because now your God Squatters are not going to go see the rated R film, you know? And it was Easter weekend, perfect spot for folks to see that. Good Friday, most Catholics take off from doing social media type things, electronics, it's a day to reflect, but you still had Saturday to rock and roll. Either way, let's see how that plays next week. I do think the rated R hurt its money. Morbius in 6th place, $4.7 million. Ambulance in 7th place with $4 million. 8th place, The Batman, $3.8 million, which is wild because now, officially, HBO Max. You can watch The Batman. You can go see it. $365 million that movie has made domestically. Good for them. Good for Warner Brothers. I expect them to drop out of the top 10 next week now that you can watch it on HBO Max. In fact, when I was doing my notes this morning, I just threw it on in the background for the hay of it. Didn't think I would do that, but I was like, you know what? Batman's available. Let me just throw it on in the background. So if we have like a very dark undertoned show today. Boom, 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 boom. KGF Chapter 2, first week of release, $2.8 million. And then in 10th place, Uncharted hangs on $1.1 million. That thing's at $145 million, just a shade under after 9 weeks. Good for them. Good for them for that, making that money. Bumping Tom Holland out of the top 10 was Tom Holland, because Spider-Man No Way Home finally drops out of the top 10 with only measly $200,000. Isn't it always funny when you see these numbers? It's like, oh, that's all they did. If someone handed me $200,000 right now, my life would change. Like my family your life would absolutely change if you were handed that amount of cash. But the studio makes it, and they're just like, that's it, $200K? That's not even going to pay what we pay the parking attendants for a year, whatever. But anywho, no shade on parking attendants. Well, except the ones at my job. I don't like those guys. They're shady. Either way, other parking attendants, you guys are great. Love you. Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore. You are the winner for the week. We will talk about going forward. I promise you, going forward, Fantastic Beasts might not make top 5. Might not make top 5. That's my prediction. Go from 1 to 6. We shall talk about that later in the going forward. But for now, let's get into the poll results. Poll results. All right, I was asking everybody, who is your favorite on-screen wizard? Who? Expelliarmus, Patronus, and wizards and stuff. And Rory is shaking his head right now at me. Just not my lane. I know you guys love this stuff, and that's fine, and that's great, and love it to no end. And we have in a couple of weeks, the Realm of Take-Two is going to be out, and they're going to be talking about these kind, swords and sandals and wands and something with a W. Gandalf, Harry Potter, Doctor Strange, and The Wizard of Oz. Those are the 4 choices that I threw up there, but then heavy on the comment below. Folks, I want to emphasize this. Anytime we throw something up there, there would be 4 probably options, and then the comment below. Feel free, man. Comment below. Enter in someone that I may have forgotten. We got 2 of those in here, and I do appreciate it. So the winner from the poll, and over 80 votes. You guys turned out for this one. Good timing on this one. Good voting. 49%. Almost half the votes alone went to Gandalf. Run, you fool. Harry Potter and Doctor Strange, they combined for 22%. They don't combine for that. They tie for that. 22% each. And then The Wizard of Frickin' Oz comes in at 7%. I will tell you this. The Wizard of Oz was not in dead last, but at 0%. 0% for the longest time. And then swooped in at the very end with a couple of votes just to give it that 7%. For the longest time. Whoa. Rachel Short commented as well for The Wizard of Oz. She said, I gotta take it back to the OG, our childhood. The first wizard you ever fell in love with was The Wizard of Oz, even though he was a shady MFer. He truly wasn't a wizard. I didn't expect any votes to come across. But Rachel, what's up, dude? We're on the same mind path there, Rach, because I was thinking you got to have the wizard in there at some point. Either way, Chris, frequent fan of the show, former Patreon guy, has actually been on the show, said, Gandalf is the most powerful, but has to go with Harry Potter as your best overall. He's your best all around here. So in Chris's eyes, Gandalf is Giancarlo Stanton. Powerful dude. Can really wield a wand. But your overall does everything great. That would be your Derek Jeter. That's your Harry Potter. So there you go. That's the analogy we're going to go with there. Smash Trivia John jumps over to the comment. We almost get this every single week. Well, out of these 4 choices, I would choose. Guys, thank you very much. Love that. But again, comment below, baby. You don't have to go out of these 4 choices. I appreciate it, though. I really do. Out of these 4 choices, he went with Gandalf, but then said Hagrid is the true answer. So we got to vote for Hagrid. On Instagram, we got a couple of votes here. Shy went with Willow. What's up, Shy? You know what to do. Drop that Willow. I love it. Fantastic. I was glad that Willow got a vote. And then my work basket said Gandalf and demonstrative. Best ever Gandalf. All time. And my work basket is today like your day off. Like Easter and baskets. Like, are you super busy last week? Is like last week your Super Bowl of basket making? Because now Easter happens, everyone needs their baskets, they need to put together the baskets. Or do I have no clue what you do for a job? I could be way off. But I saw basket, I thought Easter, I thought, man, they must have had an extremely busy weekend. And now today, Monday or this week, I'm taking these days off. Like just after the Super Bowl type thing for you. I don't know, just a thought. Facebook, we had one commenter, and it was glorious. And Craig said, The Wizard. Now, The Wizard doesn't actually have a wizard in it. That is about Fred Savage, Luke Edwards, back when they went on a journey to play video games. This movie from back in the day. Folks, if you have not seen this glorious film, The Wizard, I'm entering it into today's Rotten Tomatoes tragedies. Because The Wizard also starred Jenny Lewis, Bo Bridges, Christian Slater. If you guys don't remember this film from our childhood, Savage and Luke Edwards are brothers, and the younger brother, Luke Edwards, who went on to Little Big League fame. Don't forget, he managed the Twins. He's a video game savant, right? He goes nuts. And then they try and enter this tournament, but they got to do this cross-country thing before they get to the tournament. They hook up with Jenny Lewis, who is like their guide, and she helps them out. It is currently sitting at a 29% Metascore, 23% Metascore, 29 Rotten Tomato critics, 59 audience. That 59% is boosted by Craig and myself alone, probably. And that's a tragedy. That is a Rotten Tomato tragedy if I've ever seen one. But The Wizard gets our Rotten Tomato Tragedy of the Week, and it gets a vote here in the best wizard of all time, a movie about video games. Well done, Craig. Love you. All right, Gandalf is the victor for the poll of the best wizard on movies. Let's keep things rocking. Let's keep things rolling and start things off with our reviews. Severance dropped a couple weeks ago on the Apple TV Plus. This is directed mostly by Ben Stiller. This is starring Adam Scott of Parks and Rec fame, amongst other things. Zach Cherry, Britt Lauer, Tremel Tillman, is also in here. Jen Tolick. Who am I thinking of? I can't think of the name. John Turturro. Holy cow. And John Turturro, those are your main guys. Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette are also in here, and they do a phenomenal job. So, don't forget, folks, I mentioned this a little bit in the past. Reviews going forward. We will be speaking freely, so if you have not watched all of this, do not listen to this review until you do. because we'll be speaking quite freely about, spoiler alert is the phrase to use there. So Severance, here we go. 9 episodes on Apple. This is one of those mind-effing shows where you're like, what is going on? Huh? Okay, I need to watch the next one. What is going on? All right, wait, I got to watch the next one because I really want to know what's going on. Now, what keeps you going in the series? What keeps you going? Not only your curiosity as to, wait, this is weird. This is kind of like unique and different, but also there's more here. There's more. Is the acting. Adam Scott, I'm a big fan of. I love everything he does. I just think he is like your everyday actor. You know, he's like your girl next door, if you would call it. He is the guy next door type of actor, and he's fantastic. I love how he can portray this role perfectly. And granted, I mentioned Parks and Rec. He's almost like a less comedic, taking that character into this role in a more serious and dramatic way. And he drops some dramatic performance on you guys for this throughout. John Turturro, I want to go to next. So now I just watched John Turturro in The Batman, right? This is what's fun about watching great actors. You just watch him and he's playing a mob boss, this badass dude in The Batman. But in here, he's not. He's completely different. He's this work guy who is a stickler for the rules, and that nerdy dude who's like always up in your business and Mr. By the Book. And he just plays so great. And half the time I'm watching it, I'm just thinking, I just watched him play Carmine Falcone. And he's this badass mobster, and here he's playing this. It's just a credit to acting. It's just a credit to John Turturro and how well of an actor he is. Patricia Arquette, she does a fantastic job. She kind of plays a dual role, as you guys know, in there. And she does a decent job mixing and matching the duality, of course. Chris Walken is Chris Walken. All the other actors across the board are great. I believe it's Britt Lauer, but it might be Britt Lower. It's spelled Lower, but I think it's one of them where it's said differently. Britt, I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. Either way, she plays Helly. She's one of these actresses, man, where you can't take your eyes off of them. Not because she's easy to look at, but because she just commands the screen. Every scene that she's in, there's just something about her presence. She had that chemistry that was perfect. She works really well with Adam Scott. She played really well off of Zach Cherry and John Turturro. Every scene that this lady is in, she was owning and stealing away from these other A-list actors that she's working with. So good on her. I'm ready, besides season 2 of this, to see what else this lady is going to do going forward. And forgive me, I'm not familiar with her career or anything up to this point. So if anybody out there has seen her in other stuff where she's amazing, let me know at Take Two Podcast for Twitter, all those other things, 667-365-8253, and be like, yo, check this out because she's fantastic in this. Or check this out, she really sucks. She got better. Anywho, guys, I watched this because I saw a ton of online pub about how amazing it was. The writing, everything was fantastic, so brilliantly done. I thought, well, what the heck? Let me push play on this bad boy. I've seen many other critics and other podcasters whom I respect just say that. Just say that sentence and that sentence alone of like, wow. Just wow. That was why I pushed play. 2 eps in, I'm hooked. Through 5 eps, I'm very curious what's the heck's going on here. I'm pot committed, and by the time I got to episode 8 and 9, 8 and 9 finished so strong for me, I also said, wow. Like the way it ends, wow. It was just good stuff, man. I binged this show so fast. It might rank up there as one of the fastest bingings of shows I've ever done. Now, to help that, little side note, if any of you are actually listening and haven't finished up, Apple allows you to watch at 1.25 or 1.5 speed. So if you want to speed through it even quicker, the 43-minute episodes, you can go even quicker if you do the 1.25 or even the 1.5 speed, which is crazy. I did do the 1.25 speed. Now, I will say this, though, guys. I kind of want to go back and rewatch at regular speed because the wife is watching. Last night while I was folding laundry, I was like, oh, I'll sit down with you and just watch an ep. She was on ep 3 watching regular speed. And I was like, oh, I picked up on that. Oh, wow, he's doing that. I.e., like the guy Milchek, who's walking around, Trammell Tillman playing Milchek, taking pictures, like taking random pictures of them throughout the office. We find out in episode 9 what all those pictures actually were. We find out at the end that they were for this gallery that they're having, Helly come out and do this big to-do and this big unveiling of her time in there as an innie versus an outie. I really love the show, guys. I really thought it was fantastic. I thought it was well done. It's very smart. It keeps you on the edge of your feet. What the crap is going on here? There are some weird things in there. I will say the goat feeding room. What the heck is that going on in there? The scantily clad dancers after the waffle party with the big giant, president race type heads. I was like, what is this? What is happening here? Why can't the guy have just gotten some waffles? But then he goes into like this little section. I don't know what was going. That was a weird one too. So there were some weird nuances in here that I guess had to keep you on the edge of your seat, because now you're still questioning what the heck happens at this company. The way they ended it, man, good on them. Like, I hated and loved it at the same time. It's like, oh my God, you gave me no answers. None whatsoever. All you did was give me more questions, and you made me come back for season 2. So I am desperately going to be refreshing my Twitter every single day to see when the season 2 dropped, because I need to watch it. Oh my gosh. And in episode 8, when he sees the picture of his wife, and then he finds out that the wife is actually lit. What? Questions? How? How is she alive? Who is this lady? Did they stage the death? Did she actually die, but they saved her by putting an implant into her brain, and then that, they brought her back, but she has no clue that she was a different person beforehand? Oh my God, how did all that transpire? Everything about the show I thought was absolutely just engaging in the mind. And even though there's, through the middle, like episodes 4, 5, 6, we're kind of like, okay, I was still wanting to know more. They still gave you just enough. The relationship between Walken and Totoro I thought was fantastic. And then them integrated with the other people. We find out that there's more people. All these little questions and these little nods each and every episode as it went along, I adored. I really love Severance. High marks for me this year. It might be my favorite show I've seen so far this year. I implore anyone who listened to this and shouldn't have, because it was spoilery, but hasn't watched yet, please 100% go watch Severance. I absolutely loved it. Anybody who wants to chit chat more about it, please hit me up on the side, because I thought this was absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for season 2. Hustle it up, season 2 of Severance, because I am a big fan of you. On to a movie called X. Written and directed by Ty West, starring Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, a couple of gentlemen are in here as well. This is your horror movie. Just dropped last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I believe. This takes place in the late 70s. This is about these people who work at a strip club and they want to make a porn movie. But they hire this filmmaker, this guy, and his girlfriend are going to come along, and they're going to try and make the porn movie like better, a better film for everyone to enjoy, like next level porn. The guy actually says something very prophetic in it, in that it's going to be, porn is moving out of the theaters and into home viewing. Late 70s, that's a little early for that, but still, that's when porn really took off, when you could watch it at home, get the beta or the VHS and bring that home or whatever. And he mentions that in here. He's like, I'm telling you, we make it like this, next level. And he was right. I mean, that was just a throwaway line that was actually very accurate. They've tried, the randomness of this movie is that they say, we're just going to drive out, and they try and explain it. We're going to drive out so that the tax credit is better. I mean, that's a very Hollywood thing to say. We're going to film over here because the tax credit is better at this location versus that location. How many times do you see a movie that takes place in New York, but you never actually see anything in New York? They're just all on the New Jersey shoreline. Like, oh, skyline, it's a beautiful shot. Well, that's because it's cheaper to film in Jersey than it is in New York City. Everybody knows that. Anywho, I thought this movie was good. All right. It was, again, engaging. With me in movies, engaging needs to be the term. Do you hold my attention throughout? Yes, this movie held my attention throughout. There's a porn pun in there about holding my attention long enough that we'll shy away from. Oh, I should mention there, I didn't mention any of the gentlemen. But what's his name? In his, I guess, acting debut? Not debut, but Kid Cudi. Fantastic job. I didn't know who it was at first. And then I'm looking at him like, I think I know that guy. How do I know this guy? Where do I know him from? So I, of course, looked. I was like, holy crap, it's Kid Cudi. No joke. I thought he did a fantastic job. All of the acting, since we're on acting right there, all the acting is fine. They're all given not a lot to do with, okay? But everything that they are given, well done. They pull up very well. Jenna Ortega, there's not a ton for her to do here. Her character has that nice little arc to it where you're just like, oh, that's a twist. There actually could have been more depth there. You know me, I like shorter films, but they could have given more depth to her decision making. She's barely in it, and then she pops up. She's like, I want to be in the movie. Let me hook up with this dude. The other, even Brittany Snow's character, they gave her the most depth, I think, of character, or at least the most backstory. Same with Martin Henderson's character as Wayne. Either way, this was a quick horror film. I enjoyed it. It keeps my attention. It did a good job there. I thought it had 2 to 3 maybe little jump scares. Even the one alligator scene, the second one, I thought you knew it's coming. Here it is. It's going to happen. And it's still like, whoa, it got me. It did its job. It served its purpose. And then at the end of the day, the reason that these murders are happening was like, wait, what? It's just this horny old lady who hasn't gotten someone forever, so she's mad at these kids for hooking up on her property? Like, I can get mad at some kid who walks through my lawn too, but still. She's like, well, if you guys are going to hook up and I'm not allowed to hook up, I'm just going to have to kill you. And she's just like a horn dog that is mad that these kids are doing stuff on her property. And so she's like, F it, I'm just going to kill you. And if you're the dude, I'm going to kill you too. Pretty wild. Intriguing. So either way, you would have thought maybe they would have like knocked on the door and said, hey, do you have a scene for like an elderly couple? Because that's a thing. That's from what I hear from people that look up pornography. There's like a whole section in there, like a tab for like old couples or whatever. I don't, maybe, could be. Huh? Anywho, X. Guys, if you have any interest, a couple of good jump scares. There are a lot of smoochy boochy scenes, so you do see lots of bubbies and stuff like that. No ding dongs. But it's good. It is fine. It was fine. It had a couple of good scares. No, like super secret. There's the one kill through the barn door. That was cool. The alligator kill was cool. Surprising kill with the shotgun that kind of tricked you. They do set up something. It is smartly written. They set up a couple of things where a gun did have bullets, another gun didn't have bullets. You know, things like that as you get towards the end. I was like, all right, they set that up. You could see it coming, but they set it up well, and they knew what they were doing. They thought out their script. So, Ty West, good job. I'd like to see what he has next. I'd like to see what Ty West has coming up next. Jenna Ortega cementing herself as a Scream queen here going forward. You know, between the movie Scream and then this year so far. Let's see if she stays on that path. Just stays on that Scream Queen path because she likes doing these horror movies, it appears. Done with X, on to Death on the Nile. That was a purposeful segue to go from a movie about death to another one entitled Death on the Nile. Let's see. Agatha Christie wrote a whole bunch of books back in the day, and Kenneth Branagh fell in love with them because now he's making all of them in a row, and that's totally cool. And he's a phenomenal filmmaker. He directs and, of course, stars in this one. You also have Tom Bateman, Annette Bening, Kenneth Branagh, as I mentioned. It's Hercule Poirot. Throws in Russell Brand here, who I barely recognize for half the darn thing. Which, good on Russell Brand, because I'm not the biggest fan of that dude, and I barely recognize him. So good for him for dropping some acting prowess on us. Gal Gadot, of course, is in this amongst an absolute litany of other actors in here. Okay, this is going to be my most negative review of the day. I snoozed through the beginning. I really did. Early on, when we're getting things started. Okay, so the early on crux of the first half, interested, what's going on? Poirot is on vacay, but as always, trouble seems to find this guy. So what's happening here with this wedding? These people fall in love. Now these people are in love. Bing, what's going to happen? Early on, I was like, okay, at least you're setting up. But man, it took a while to set some stuff up. And they had a lot of characters that they need to set stuff up for just to get them in this location together type deal. I dozed, man. First and second act, I dozed. There's 3 times watching this that I hit the rewind button. Not going to lie. So, and again, this is the word of the day, engaging. This was not. I was watching. I was intrigued. I wanted to know where the story went. And I just wanted to get to the end so he could tell me how he solved some murders. And just getting to the murder was a bit of a chore. It wasn't bad. I was just like, all right, I get it. Okay, Gal Gadot, now she's in love with this guy. The ex-girlfriend, she's there. She's evil. She's probably involved in the murders somehow. Or we're using her to set up that somebody else is actually involved in the murders. Well, she was in that room. She couldn't be in the murder. It just didn't have that mystery, that grabbing you whodunit-ness that I was hoping for, and that an Agatha Christie book should have. So Branagh is a phenomenal filmmaker. He does a great job. I'm looking forward to the next one, whichever book they do next. And hopefully they break it down a little bit better. And maybe they should try, it's hard to do because you're taking it off of her books and the amount of characters that she gives you, to condense it. Maybe not as many characters. I did kind of like the last one. This one I like less. Hopefully, if he comes back for a round 3 on this one, which I believe he's going to do with the Agatha Christie books, it gets better. In the end, it's just like, all right, I got it. He was, the bad guy. She was the bad guy. That was it. They went after the money. It was kind of like a simple whodunit at the end of the day. Like if you would have pushed pause and just thought, all right, who would want the money? How are they going to get the money? All right, that makes sense. That's a setup. I get it. And they tried to set him up. I didn't hate this movie, but I definitely didn't love it. Definitely didn't love it. I'm a medium at best on this movie. Thankfully, I waited and did not spend my AMC stubs, which doesn't cost anything, to go see this thing. it was just kind of like a meh for me. Just a meh. You know, a lot of pretty faces to look at, whatever. The CGI early on, with that alone, could take a few folks out of this movie. The CGI when they got the pyramids behind him and like a bird like kind of flies by, I was like, wait a second, what are we doing here, Harry? What was the budget on this bad boy? Because, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the budget probably went to all the actors' salaries is what had to happen because you have so many A-listers in this movie. Nobody does a poor performance acting. They just do their best with what they're given. I thought Godot did a solid job. See, Godot's in a spot, man. I think a lot of people are watching her career very closely. She dominates as Wonder Woman. She is phenomenal in that role. Other things leave a little bit to be desired. This one, she played it well. She played it very well. We'll see. That's it. I really don't have a lot of great things to not say as far as Death on the Nile. So we shall move on. That's going to do it for the reviews, everybody. Thank you for joining along there. Now it is time to jump on over to our casting couch. Casting couch is loaded. Casting couch is loaded. All right, Oppenheimer. This movie has 1,000 people inside of it, and just for fun, they added Olivia Thirlby into the cast. She's a fantastic actress, and she will add to the already loaded star-studded cast. That's going to be a theme in this casting couch today: loaded star-studded casts, plural. Barbie movie. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Kate McKinnon, Simu Liu. We already know that all those folks are in it. How about we add Kingsley Ben-Adir, Rhea Perlman, Scott Evans, and Emerald Fennell? Not bad. Loading up that cast for that Warner Brothers film all about Barbie. Downtown Owls. Lots of W's. Downtown Owls. This is being directed by Lily Rabe. She does a great job directing. Henry Golding, Ed Harris, Vanessa Hudgens are a few that they've already added to that drama film that'll be coming out next year. Christopher Lloyd has been nabbed to recur on his role from The Conners. He will be back next season. Rock and roll. Looking forward to seeing that. The Witcher Season 4 has added Robbie Amell and Minor Zhang. Not bad. Magic Mike The Last Dance. A little bit of news here. A little bit of news on the old Magic Mike. Or Thandie Newton. She's having a little personal issues right now. She's announced that she's going to be stepping aside from acting for a minute. And she needed to step out of this project alone. Who do they get to replace Thandie Newton? Why not Miss Salma Hayek? Not a bad replacement, especially in a Magic Mike Last Dance type. Last Dance, Last Dance. It's your last chance for romance. Okay, The Tutor, which in my house the kids would think would be a movie about passing gas. It is not. It is Tutor, Tutor. Garrett Hedlund, Noah Schnapp, and Victoria Justice, a mystery thriller starring them and more. Love Lies Bleeding. This will be the next project by Kristen Stewart. This is an A24 project, so give me some Kristen Stewart and some A24. That seems like a perfect actress studio match. Kristen Stewart, A24, give me more. Lastly, White Man Can't Jump has added Sinqua Walls to join in co-leading with Jack Harlow in the reboot of that phenomenal early 90s film. I'm intrigued to see where that thing goes. I am intrigued to see where that thing goes. That was a lot of casting that I just plowed through right there. Did not mean to do it. But either way, moving forward, on to the Hollywood news. We shall start with the sad. Gilbert Gottfried passed away. 67 years old. Massive bummer. I mean, just a hilarious guy. Everyone knows his voice. Every comedian in the world did an impression of him. I mean, regular people out there also did impressions of him. And most notably, the acting role known for Iago in Aladdin, maybe? Probably. But rest in peace, Mr. Gilbert Gottfried. And then back-to-back losses for the Seinfeld family. Last week, we lost Costanza's mom. This week, we lose Jerry Seinfeld's mom from the show. Liz Sheridan, the actress that played the Seinfeld mom, Mrs. Seinfeld, she dies at age 93. So big, long, healthy life there. Congrats to her on that long life, but an RIP to say the least. Massive bummer to lose there. Okay, we found out that, Knives Out 2, another loaded A-list cast that we have coming in, that Kaylee Cuoco auditioned and lost out to Kate Hudson. I almost said Jennifer Hudson. Totally different lady. Kate Hudson. So we found out Kaylee announced this, and I think Hudson mentioned reference to this about having to beat out some big-time actresses, including Cuoco. They asked Cuoco about it, and she was like, yeah. And Cuoco said she was devastated. Like, she really wanted this role. So, A, that makes me think, hey, the role that Hudson's playing is a big one. And B, Kaylee Cuoco still has to audition. Like, it's very interesting, and this is not foreign, sometimes some big time stars still need to audition for some roles. Some directors like, you're phenomenal. I need to make sure that you can do what I want you to do in this movie. And that makes sense. You get enough under your belt. Some directors are like, nah, just boom, just give me her. Just give me what she, because she's done enough in the past. She has enough of a resume. I know that she can pull this off. But other ones, apparently this role, auditioning need to happen. Now, my question is, did Kate Hudson also have to audition? Because she's given more on tape that any director could go back and look at than Cuoco has. So if she needed to audition, that tells me this role has something about it that both these ladies need to do uniquely. And we were curious if they could. And Hudson did it better than Cuoco. So that's the interesting part there to me about the actual character. What needed to happen in the auditions that Cuoco couldn't do that Hudson could. Or I shouldn't say couldn't. That Cuoco could, but Hudson could do better. Or the director and casting director liked better. Either way. Just cool stuff. I love that A-listers still need to audition. That is the job. That is the job. So you have to earn that job. And I love that it still happens out there to a degree. And, every actor out there wishes they could get to that point where it is just, I get offered roles and that's it. And I never have to audition again because auditioning sucks. It really does. And I like auditioning. I do. I really do. In fact, I had a really good one the other day. Promising. That's all I'll say. But it just sucks. It really does. So once you get to that point, where things are just thrown your way and people are begging you for new roles, obviously that's where every actor would like to get to. Either way, that's enough jib-jabbing about Knives Out 2. Either way, Kate Hudson got the role, Kaley Cuoco did. If there's a Knives Out 3, circle Kaley Cuoco as possibly just being in that movie. I wonder if they will now swing it back and be like, all right, Kaley, we got one for you. Here's a role for you for Knives Out 3. Fall of the House of Usher. Frank Langella was in this thing. They filmed about half the movie, and he has been fired. Unbecoming conduct. He was bad. He did bad things. He was a jerk. Why can't I say the word misconduct, unbecoming? This podcast is conduct unbecoming. Conduct unbecoming. Frank Langella is out for doing some bad things on set, off set, etc., and people didn't like it, and he has been booted. All of his scenes will be recast and reshot, and they are 50% done filming The Fall of the House of U.S. Herraymond. Now, baby, tell me. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I could have helped it. I just didn't want to help it. Usher. All right, and lastly, Jamie Dornan. Oh, my God, I wanted to hug him after he said this. And every fanboy listening here, a lot of you guys out there are comic book fans and have this Star Wars fandom and whatever. Toxic fandom is a thing, right? And we're trying to get rid of it. We're trying to get rid of cancel culture. We're trying to get rid of toxic fandom and try and move forward in a positive nature. And Jamie Dornan came out and he said that prejudgment of castings is an effing disease. And he is 100% right. I'm paraphrasing, but he went on to say, he said Daniel Craig was cast and that was 100% negative. Everybody destroyed it. And look what happened. He is a lot of people's favorite Bond of all time. And it was 100% destroyed. He said Robert Pattinson was cast as Batman, and that thing was 90% negative. And now look what happened. A lot of people love him in the role. He said Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker, and people hated it. And look what happened. He wins a damn Oscar for it. And Dornan, and this stemmed from, he said, when I was cast in 50 Shades of Grey, people went nuts. I hated it. A ton of negative backlash. And then he does it, and he gets accepted, and everyone, now they can only see him as, I was going to say Meredith Grey. What's the guy's name? Something Grey. Christian Grey. As Christian Grey. I got it. And he's 100% right. 100% right. And he went on a rant. And the beauty of it is he just named characters and actors being cast and then people just judging off the top. Ew, gross. I do not want Michael Keaton playing Batman. Are you nuts? The comedian playing Batman? And then you've got this serious guy, Jack Nicholson, coming in to play the Joker. It's the Joker. He should be funny. Guys, we were wrong in 1989. And we still keep doing it to this day. And Jamie Dornan is 100% correct. We need to knock it off. And listen, I'm guilty of that too. When Ledger was cast, I was like, you know what? He's a good actor, but I don't see it. I love Chris Nolan, so I guess we'll try. Like, that was the most positive I could give. Like, I just got to trust Nolan, and it turned out to be right. Nolan was right. All these other ones, since then, like Robert Downey Jr., you're going to give him a leading role to start off this big franchise of comic book movies? The guy that was just in jail. Him. You're going to give him a chance. Can anybody picture Robert Downey Jr. and not picture Iron Man at this point? Just synonymous with that role. I absolutely love that Jamie Dornan came out. I hope other actors and other people come out there too. And just tell people, like, guys, knock it off. And here's the deal. If the casting doesn't work, if then later on we do have this film and we do get this project and that casting sucks, okay, say that. You can easily say that. Jesse Eisenberg, I don't love as Lex Luthor. I just didn't. 90% of that is the character of Luthor, like that portrayal of Luthor. Shoving a Jolly Rancher in another man's mouth is not the greatest criminal mind of all time. So after the fact, now I can come back and go, ugh, did not love that casting. But beforehand, Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor. I'm in to see what he can give me for this role. I don't know. Barry Keoghan. What are we going to do here with the Joker going forward? And I know, guys, I'm using a lot of comic book references, but that's the easy thing to do because the comic book Star Wars section, this, area, the Comic-Con nerd fandom is the most toxic of them all. Nobody's upset about Forrest Gump castings, okay? That was a dated reference, really. You couldn't have thought of a sooner movie than 1994, Brian. Get out of here, man. All right, off that soapbox. Jamie Dornan, well done. I'm glad you brought it up, and I hope more people support him going forward. Done with the Hollywood news. Let's move on to DC discussion. Leslie Grace is Batgirl, and she has come out and she said that this movie is insane, folks. Granted, it's her job to say that things are good, but she came out very demonstratively and was like, this movie is going to be insane. I really think you folks are going to like it, and there have already been talks of a sequel. Interesting. We'll circle back to that thought in a second there, Miss Leslie, but I'm glad that she's very happy and very hyped for the film. And it's better than her coming like, ugh, y'all might want to sit this one out. Wait till HBO Max. Trust me. Speaking of HBO Max, we have announced that The Wonder Twins is happening and it's coming to HBO Max. Guess what? We've cast the twins. KJ Apa has been cast alongside Isabel May. KJ, I know nothing about you, sir. Isabel, I know a lot about you because you were just in 1883. I love the casting. I think it'll look great. I think Isabel May is a phenomenal actress. She just absolutely dominated 1883. She's young. She's perfect for this role. Now to see the chemistry between her and KJ. How is that going to work out? The Blue Beetle movie. We keep, I know there's a huge Blue Beetle fan base out there. As there should be. Great character. Great comic character. I've read a couple of Blue Beetles, not a lot. The casting that they're doing for this movie is forcing people to take notice of this film that will be coming out. They have now just added Susan Sarandon to the cast. We got George Lopez, we got other heavy hitters, and now we're just going to throw in Susan Sarandon. Why the heck not? Love it. Absolutely love it. And also we're bringing in more big-name actors into these comic book films. Lastly, and here's the biggie, and here's where we're going to be doing a little think PC talky type stuff. As mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Discovery has purchased HBO. They're going to be merging things. We talked about how HBO Max and Discovery, you're not going to have both apps. They're going to merge everything together so that way you can watch it all. Awesome. The heads of Discovery came straight out and said what every DCEU fanboy has been saying for about 4 years now. We want one voice, a smart voice, to headline a very consistent, cohesive path going forward. Awesome. That is Marvel model, right? We need to be like Marvel. Why? I don't know. But either way, we need things to be together. Now, this makes sense in the fact that they're pumping the brakes on Joker 2. They're pumping the brakes on a couple of things where they want to now keep this whole DCEU, this whole universe together. Awesome. Is it Marvel model? Yes. But if you do it right, awesome. Now you have your Marvel universe, your DC universe, and everyone gets to play along. Instead of this incohesive, is this movie connected to that movie? Is that character inside of that one? Is he coming back to play that role? They want to get rid of that in the DCEU. Great. They said they also need to do better by certain characters and bring back some characters that gives them some love. And the very first one they named, I'm not sure if you've listened to this show before, but you already know how happy I was here to hear they need to do better by Superman. Preach. What's the gift? The preach into the converted, the choir, whatever. Thank God, okay? Please go do that. I still want the Michael B. Jordan project. I still want to see that Val Zod, because I think that's phenomenal. Henry Cavill easily could be the greatest Superman of all time. God bless R.I.P. Christopher Reeve. I absolutely love everything he gave us to begin with, but Cavill hasn't even been given a proper attempt at Clark Kent. Unless you watch the BVS Ultimate Edition, you get nothing Clark Kent-wise from him. Give me some of that. Right? Give me more of a fleshed out Superman character where he actually goes and fights some villain. I mean, he fought the same damn villains again. You gave him kind of Doomsday, but again, it was Lex Luthor, Zod. We've seen that, done that. Can I get Brainiac? Can I get Mr. Mxyzptlk? Can I get Bizarro? Somebody, right? Give me some of that on the big screen. And they said straight up, we need to do better by Superman. While doing these other projects, giving us Batgirl, giving us Batgirl Part 2, giving us Birds of Prey, giving us all of these movies going forward. Rock and roll. Okay, you're Warner Brothers. You've got the cash. Make it. And the cash will come back at you if you do it properly. There is a fan base for Man of Steel. It was an absolute masterpiece. Give me a part 2 to that. And the way you left Superman, that character, go next. Keep going. He's got the character arc. It's sitting right there in front of you. To then now become the Boy Scout that we all know and love, and then going forward, the symbol of humanity, Earth's greatest hero, that should be the next movie. Just do it. It's there. Cavill ain't getting any younger. Granted, they did just talk about Witcher Season 4, so they got to figure out the rights of him being able to be on Netflix and be in Warner Brothers and all that jazz. Either way, I'm happy to hear that they are actually taking a step back and saying, hang on, we've got to do better. Because I really feel that they're not sure what they've been doing. We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Now they want that Kevin Feige-like person. And to be honest, I hope that it's maybe more than one person. Maybe give me like a 3-person team who can really sit down and plan things out and give a big, nice, long arc, and then slowly introduce movie by movie by movie. They never should have let off with Justice League. They never should have had any Justice League that fast. You should have built these characters first and then let us in. That's what Marvel did. But you were in such a rush. I'm glad that DC now is saying, pump the brakes. We don't need to be in a rush. The more we rush, the worse it comes off. And that's it. And don't get me wrong, folks, I'm not poo-pooing any DC project. There are some great, great DC movies that I love. Absolutely love. But I'm glad that they're going to have an overarching togetherness, cohesive DCEU going forward. Fingers crossed. Let's finish up DC and go on to the Marvel Minute. Tyrese Gibson dropped a couple of fun little tweets on the old social media saying that he might be in Blade. Hello. Okay, why not? Throw him in there. Doctor Strange Part 2 has... So producers have come out and said that Doctor Strange Part 2 will have more surprises than Endgame and more surprises than No Way Home combined. Okay, you will never top Captain America catching Mjolnir. For me, as a surprise. Never. You'll never top that. I'm sorry. No Way Home, phenomenal. All the 3 of them showing up together, the 3 of them fighting at the same time, rock and roll. But nothing will ever top Captain America catching that hammer. Now, you got more for me coming forward? You got more that are going to beat that? Challenge accepted. Let's rock and roll. I'd love to see it. Speaking of challenges, Ramiro Alanis, he had the record for most views of a movie in the theaters ever. Guinness Book of World Records. He viewed Avengers Endgame 191 times in the theaters for the Guinness record. He's now destroyed that record. Absolutely destroyed it. And has watched Spider-Man No Way Home 292 times. 292 times. This gentleman went to the movie theater to see Spider-Man No Way Home. That equals 720 plus hours of viewing. That equals over 30 days of watching just this one film. Guys, I love movies. I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. Favorite movie of all time is Forrest Gump. There is zero chance that I am watching any of these movies 292 times. You could not say, hey, Brian, you have... So that came out in December. This is April. This is 5 months. You have 5 months to watch Back to the Future Part 1 300 times. Can you do it? Can I? Yeah. Will I? No. God, no. Now, I've watched Back to the Future 300 times in my lifetime. But are you nuts? And also, I mean, obviously this gentleman does not have a girlfriend or a life to be able to, like, there's zero opportunity. Good on him, man. Hey, good on him for having the ability to do it and having his name in the record books. And hopefully he finds a spouse, someone to say, hey, man, why don't you come home for dinner tonight instead of seeing Spider-Man No Way Home again? I'm not trying to poo-poo the guy. Easy jokes to make. 30 days worth of watching that movie. If he can't recite that thing word for word for word by now, he should just get cast in the next one. Like as a gift. Thank you for contributing all the cash. They made that $200,000 this week. That was all Ramiro. It was all Ramiro's money. We're done with the Marvel Minute. We're done with episode 288. Now it's time to go forward. Going forward, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, episode 289 will be delayed next week, probably dropping Wednesday, possibly Thursday, but please pay attention to all of the social media and your feed. We will have a show, but if it's Tuesday afternoon and you're not seeing your Take Two podcast, do not fret. It's okay. Just pause, maybe go listen to another show. There are plenty of other good shows out there. Give them a little listen-a-roo, and then come back around on Wednesday when you get your Take Two podcast. And maybe, hey, I'll have fun story times about Texas. I've never been to Dallas, and I'm really looking forward to it. Maybe we'll get a good old story time. Should we do some cowboy hat pictures on Instagram? I'm going to rock a cowboy hat. Let me tell you what. Also, it is currently 41 degrees outside my door here in the great state of Maryland. Best state in the country. But Texas, this weekend, is going to be 89 degrees. So my Irish skin is going to go, what the mother are we doing out here right now, Harry? Okay, so if I come back and next week's YouTube is just like beet red, that's because I stepped outside for like half a second in Texas and got Irishly burned. Either way, episode 289, just be a minute late. Also, don't forget on socials, follow us at Take2Podcast, Take2Podcast@gmail.com. Twitter is at Take2, and then Facebook, Instagram, follow along, because on Facebook and Twitter, I'll be throwing up the daily framed, and would love to see. I know you guys, there will be days that you guys will smoke me and get movies in one, and there will be days that I'll get them in one. But I thought it could be fun. We could all jump on there. So any listeners out there that want to do it's framed.com. But I put it on Facebook so far today. So all you gotta do is hit that link, then you guess, and then you can copy and share what your record was for the day. And it takes 2 seconds, honestly. It's a game that it's mindless. It takes all of 2 seconds each time. All right, this weekend, coming out into the theaters, The Bad Guys. I gotta be honest, the trailer for this movie, this cartoon, when the one animal pretends to be pregnant, and then the baby like comes out of her skirt or whatever, and she's like, my baby! I was crying laughing. My daughter was even like, Dad, come on, man. And it got to the point where I laughed so hard that then I was laughing at myself for laughing so hard. You ever get to those moments? And I was just like, you're an idiot. But I was absolutely crying. So then, of course, she was like, we're going to see that movie, aren't we? And we are, because my son wants to see it as well. I am hoping to get to it this weekend. Again, vacay happening. So I don't know what reviews we'll have next week. We'll have something. Of that. Bad Guys. That is an option. Next option, The Northman. Really want to see this. Seeing great reviews. Desperately want to see it. Totally different movie than The Bad Guys, I assume. But that is dropping also. And then, of course, the massive weight of unbearable talent. I said that right. Also, desperately want to see that movie as well. That comes out this weekend. Nick Cage looks phenomenal. For a minute there, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Looks like just a ton of fun. God bless Nick Cage, a national treasure. I mean, if you want to do the Mount Rushmore of actors of all time, if you're going by a talent level, award level, Cage might not get up there. But as far as just Hollywood icon notoriety getting it, he's got to be on there. Like, I would love, you just got to put Cage's face on the Mount Rushmore, and with some 3 other dudes who have won like a bunch of awards. And not that Cage hasn't. He's been awarded for some stuff in the past. But you know what I'm trying to say there? Like, he's just, maybe there should be a Rushmore of icons. Himself, Cruise, etc. And then you have another one that has like people who have just like Daniel Day-Lewis, like people who can just drop insane characters on you. I don't know. Either way, of those 3 films, I plan on seeing at least one of them before flying off to vacation so that we can have them as the review in the following week. I'm very pleased that the heat just kicked on. See, that's my fault. That is my fault. I mentioned that it was 40 degrees outside, and then my house was like, oh, right, turn the heat on. So that way it helps out with this audio in the background. Also in the background, it's spring break in my house, so as you've heard kids running amok upstairs, that's the answer. HBO, there's a movie called The Survivor that actually came out a while ago, but now this is the release onto HBO. Peter Sarsgaard, Ben Foster, John Leguizamo, about a couple of boxers. I'm actually interested in that. It looks good. I'm going to circle back to HBO in a second. Netflix also has an 8-episode show called Heartstopper. And then Along for the Ride, a couple of Netflix level products. Disney Plus has another polar bear documentary. Very cool looking thing. Could be a lot of fun to watch with the kids. One of those voiceover documentaries about polar bears. You want a fun polar bear story? All right. Where I work in Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, there are a lot of hobos. Folks down in the luck and just don't have a home. A couple of them, not all there mentally. One gentleman, his name was Wild Bill. Wild Bill, lovely man. Eccentric, to say the least, okay, to describe this guy. Homeless guy, very eccentric, definitely did not bathe often. Hopefully things are going okay for him. I haven't seen Bill in a while. Either way, he comes up one day to where I'm working and starts talking about how nervous he is. And he's like, I'm super nervous because I'm going to this social event they having at the home. What? He said, yeah, on Friday, they're having this event where all of us and the other shelter, they're letting us all kind of mingle, and they're going to like play music and dance, and there's going to be people there, right? I'm doing a Wild Bill impression. None of you have met Wild Bill, so forgive me, Bill. And I was like, all right, cool. He was like, but there's this lady, and she's going to be there, and I'm kind of worried. And I was like, here's what you do, Bill. You walk right up to her. You say, how much does a polar bear weigh? And she'll say, what? And you say, how much does a polar bear weigh? And she'll say, I don't know. And you say, enough to break the ice. Hi, I'm Bill. That's your opening line, buddy. It'll work like gold. And he was like, what? Okay. And he was all confused, just like you guys are right now. And then he went on his way. Shit you not. 4 days later, I see him. And he rode a bike. He had a bicycle. He comes riding up, and I can just hear in the distance, polar bear, polar bear, polar bear. I'm like, what the crap? And I see Bill come up, and he sees me from forever, and he's just screaming, polar bear. And then he gets closer to me. He was like, it worked. It worked. Her name is Jennifer, and I tried the polar bear line, and it worked, and we're going to get together tomorrow. And I was like, are you serious? You dropped the polar bear line? He was like, yes, you told me to. And I was like, good for you, man. Good for you. Love can be found anywhere, all places, for the rich and the not rich and the homeless, all the same. So anyway, fun story about Wild Bill. Man, I now that I tell that story, I think he passed away. I just got really sad because I do think he may have. Either way, God bless that man. Okay, lastly, HBO, Barry. Boom, Barry, season 3. This Sunday it drops. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to watch. I might watch episode 1 at some point over the weekend, but I'm very, very, very happy that Barry is back. Season 3, season 2 ended so good, so good. It has been too long. You know, the COVID jumped in there and delayed production for season 3 of Barry because the way season 2 ended, it was like, oh my God, give me season 3 right now, and we've had to wait, but it is finally back. Absolutely love season 1 and 2 of Barry, guys. If you have not seen the show Barry on HBO, catch up now. So that way, this weekend, you can jump on to episode 1 for season 3 of Barry. That is my main that I want to watch. Now, there won't be a review of that next week because HBO does your weekly drops, which we love. Any hoot. Of those that I've mentioned, we will have a review next week on episode 289. Thank you guys for listening to Take Two Podcast. Thank you guys for subscribing. A rating and review would be swell. 5 stars specifically, if you don't mind. And, of course, at Take Two Podcast for Twitter. Take2podcast@gmail.com for email, 667-365-8253. That's the old phone number there for a text or a voicemail. Please follow the show on Instagram and Facebook. And have a great night, everybody.